Hello. Hello, my squishies. Penguin, hello, you're on. Can you hear me? Yes or no? This is the question. We always start these slightly awkwardly because I never know if my audio is working or not. So hopefully Penguin will let me know the audio is working and I can edit this out in post so you will never see this again after tomorrow afternoon. So can you hear me? We have sound. We have sound. Amazing. Okay. So I'm going to start this again. I'm going to pause for a second and start again when I edit it in post. Hello, my squishies. It is 6:15. It's Friday night. It's felting time. We already have Penguin on. Hello, Penguin. So we record these live, leave them up for you guys to follow along after the fact. So if you're watching after, if you've got one of my kits and you're watching this now, you can fast forward, you can rewind, you can pause, you can mute me if you don't want to hear my nonsense, because we will chat nonsense today. So that's it. So yeah, you're in control of this video. So if I go too fast, just slow me down or go back, you're all good. But let's get felting. Shall we felt? So today we're doing something was going to be completely finished and organized. I'm not. Various reasons. It's fine. But we're going to do a version. So previously we've done, oh, here it is. The Glencoe Museum. Quite big and in a big round frame. But now we're going to do a tiny version, which could be Glencoe Museum, or it could be, which I think I'm heading towards, a tiny red roofed bothy that you see all around Scotland, or all around the Highlands anyway. And the aim is for it to be in a frame that is magnetised for you to put on your wall. Now, haven't figured out the magnet bit yet. That's for tomorrow, but it'll be all figured out, so we don't worry. We don't panic. But we're going to do this little tiny house felt. So for those of you who have not felted before, in your kit you've got a foam mat. This thank you. Oh yeah, so because we record these live, people comment at the time and I answer the comments. You can possibly see live chat replay somewhere down there to see what they're saying, and that I'm not just talking to myself, though I may just be talking to myself sometimes. But right, so in your kit you've got your foam mat. This is what you're going to felt onto to protect your surfaces. And then we've got a little bit of pre-felt. So this fabric is wool. It's been washed, it's come off the sheep, it's been washed, brushed and loosely felted into fabric. So it is still quite stretchy, quite malleable. That's just the nature of it, and as we felt it, it's going to get tighter and tighter and more solid. You will also have your felting needles. These are sharp and barbed at one end. Please do not stab yourself. Try and stab away from your fingers. There is multiple needles in your kit, and you can hold multiple needles together to speed up the felting as well. In your kit you also have the most important bit. So this is the felt, or technically it's called roving. So it is wool, mostly Shetland wool, a little bit Cheviot and a little bit of Welsh or Jacobs depending. It's come off the sheep, it's been washed, brushed, dyed in some cases, and formed into a loose rope. And this is super easy to work with. So you want to have your hands nice and far apart and just pull gently. And you'll see little lengths come out. So this is the staple length. It is what the length of the hair essentially that was on the sheep, or the wool that was on the sheep. Some people call this tops. There is a technical distinction. This is roving. It's not pulled tops. But you can use it interchangeably. I'm not going to argue with you about it. And if there's any twist in this, it's not going to pull apart either. So you want to have it nice and loose and fluffed up, my hands nice and far apart, and just pull out little bits. And not only are we doing a small picture today, so we will be using tiny amounts, but I normally use tiny amounts anyway, because the less is more, and we want to build up lots of nice layers. So let's put this somewhere here for reference. So imagine that is not over the edges. I'll explain the story. We'll explain the story later on. But so let's get felting. Let's do this. And if you hear banging and crashing, I apologize. My wonderful dog Peanut is downstairs supervising my wonderful parents, who are building a new desk for the shop, so a new counter desk and a new center console desk. So they're doing that just now. So you might hear the odd thunk, maybe the odd swear word, we'll find out. But let's do this. So we're going to start with the background. So I'm doing a really straightforward background because it is so tiny, you don't need to put in much detail. So I'm going to start with, this is olive green, the lighter of the greens, and I'm just going to fill up. And now we do want to go over the edges. Do not be afraid of going over the edges. The edges will get covered up by the frame. It's better to go over the edges than not over the edges. So I'm putting a little layer of that down and just tacking it essentially in place. So with a few wee stabs, that's sort of loosely held in place. You can still move it and pull it off if you want to. We'll thoroughly felt it down later, but I like to just get stuff. I like to block out the colours. This is blue, it is Dream. And we're going to take that and fill up the top half. So we're just going to do a half and half. Nice and easy. And again, just loosely stabbing it in, not too thoroughly at this stage. Do not worry. Keep popping your frame down, checking that it's nice. Perfect. So now, for the one I'm going to do now, I'm not going to put in the road, I think. I want the house to have like maybe a little path and a little garden in front of it. You're seeing me do this live. These are, yes, these are instructional videos, but these are also the videos. The aim of these videos is to give you the tools to design your own one. So you don't have to follow me exactly. Be free. I want to see what you guys can create. So now I'm going to layer up. So we've got two greens. We've got the olive green and a slightly darker hedgerow green. And I want to put in a few little layers and a few little pops of colour. So generally, the further away you are, so the further back it is, the lighter something will be because of atmospheric refraction. I sound fancy and I don't actually know if that is why it is. So I'm putting some really fine layers of the darker green and then layering them up on top again with the lighter green. So oh, there was a flash. So you can see how fine, can you even see how fine that layer is? It's just strands. There we go, and then I'm going to stab that all in. And those little layers will build up sort of naturally occurring light and shadowy areas and interesting effects, especially when you put a few layers together. It's like blending, but without having the carding brushes and everything. So I'm going to do a couple more layers of green. So aiming the darker green at the bottom, closer to us, and letting it fade out up. And then again, these are tiny, you can't even see how tiny this layer is. and then just stabbing it in. So when I'm stabbing, I'm always stabbing straight in and out. I'm never bending the needle, because that's when needles will break. If you do break a needle, please find all of the parts and dispose of it safely. I keep a little ink pot that is empty and just pop all, it's like a hard plastic container, and pop all my needles into that, my broken needles, so that once it's completely full I can safely dispose of it and nobody's going to get stabbed by needles. Like a sharps container essentially. Also, I haven't mentioned this yet, every so often we're going to pull this up off of the mat, because this is our felted bit, so they get kind of pushed into the mat, so you want to pull them up, and it might distort your picture. Do not panic, just wiggle it back into shape. I'm going to put a little bit more sky in, because I don't want to be seeing through to the white underneath. Now I'm going to take, I like putting a little hint of clouds in. So this white fluff is called slivers. So these were roving or tops. This is slivers. So it's slightly differently prepared. So it's come off the sheep, and in this case it's been washed, lightly brushed, and formed into ropes of slivers. And the difference with this is that you can see, let's see, can you see? This is the question. This is really smooth and all going in the same direction. There's no lumpy bumpy bits. Whereas this it's a little bit more tangled. There's little lumps and noils, and that's intended. But it makes the best clouds and the best. Oh yeah, it's good. It's good when you pull it's like it's a great noise. So slivers make the best clouds and the best sheep. So if you want to put in some sheep, use a little bit of the slivers. I might pop in some sheep, but I like a really wispy cloud. So again, we're talking minuscule amounts, stabbing it in, and I might even do a layer on top. Now you can do whatever clouds makes you happy. If you want to do white fluffy big clouds, please do. If you want to have a nice blue sky with no clouds at all, please do. I'm not the cloud police. Is that a thing? That might be a thing. But I like just a little hint. Okay, so that is pretty much the background done, to be honest. This little bothy it's not up a hill, it's just kind of sitting there in the landscape. It's not really doing anything, but that's okay. So I'm now going to use what I used for the clouds to, right, now this is where we're like, right, so this is the size of the finished picture. So I want my bothy. Now, you can have your bothy whatever size you want. The only caveat is that it's got to fit in the frame. So you could do a tiny bothy far away, just one little itty bitty one there, or you could do a big bothy taking up the whole, like this one, because this one takes up the whole frame. I'm making you make a decision here. I'm so sorry. I know we like to buy kits so that we don't have to really think, but I'm going to make you think. I'm going to do, I think, a medium-sized bothy in the left-hand side, just sitting there. But again, I am not forcing you to do this. You can do whatever bothy makes you happy. There is no right and no wrong. What I am going to do is take a little bit and kind of smoosh it in my fingers a little bit just to shape it a little, and then start stabbing in. And we will tidy this up later, do not worry. In fact, I'm going to swap needle. I may occasionally, I forget, I sometimes need to, I use my needles quite a lot. I do need to replace them sometimes. There's wee barbs on the needles, and they do, I mean, I could be making it up, but I think they wear down over time. And there's nothing like a fresh needle. Over time is like a long time. Many, many felts. Okay. So now I'm going to do a roof. Now I love these little red bothies. Not little red roofed bothies. So I'm doing a red roof one. So I'm going to take, again, it is tiny amounts. And this time what I'm going to do is take my little strand and fold it to about the right size. And then stab it in. So about there, perfect. Trying to not have any of the red spill over onto the green. If it does happen, that's okay. You can just tidy it up later. It's totally fine. Add a little bit more. Now it's not going to look, well, your bothy may be wonky. The bothy probably in its natural habitat is wonky. These are old buildings. They're not necessarily that well maintained. Look at that. Now the nice thing about this is that we have extra around the side. So if I wanted to, I was like, oh, actually, no, I want it in the middle. I could still do that. Or if I wanted it really far or up, you've got that little bit of room to, oh, quite like that. Do I want it more central? Barbs do wear down. Thank you, Penguin. I was questioning myself. Yeah, I think we might put a few sheep in. You're very right. Questioning myself whether I just make it up or it's real. It's real. We're fine. And then, right, so I've used the, oh, I didn't tell you what colour the red was. So we've got two, we've got a red and like a rust brown. This one is possibly loganberry or sherry, the lighter one. And then we've got this dark one, which is chestnut. So I'm going to take a little, again, tiniest bit of the darker colour, and I'm going to put like a little sort of rusty area, I want to say. So just a little bit on the bottom. Now you can, I tend not to cut my roving, but you can if you want to chop little bits off. That's totally fine. Right, now at this stage everything's still a little bit fluffy. I kind of want to batter everything down. That's the wrong word. I want to felt it a bit more so it's easier to put in finer details. So I'm going to spend 2 minutes, maybe 3, just stabbing all over. I am in fact going to get myself a shiny new needle. Where are they? Here they are. Because I deserve it. There we go. Normally I have a small stack in the top right hand corner, but not today. I think I must have tidied up. I'm just going to hold 2 together and stab all over willy-nilly. And you'll notice the more you stab, the more pulls through to the back, and the fabric sort of tightens up a little bit. Well, technically it felts, which is what we're doing, So it's knotting all the fibres together. But you'll feel it and you'll see the difference as well. Now while I'm doing it, I'm going to explain. There is no right amount of felting. It is mostly, again, personal preference. So if you want your piece to be nice and fluffy and not too detailed, more like ethereal, probably that's a word, you don't have to stab as much as if you say something was going to be in a high touch area. It's going to be felt up all the time. You'd want to felt it more thoroughly. So an example, the pictures that go for sale in my shop. I have a small shop in Fort William. I sell wool and felting stuff and yarn and knitting and all that stuff. So the ones that I sell in my shop, I felt those. I've got an industrial felting machine over here. I felt them thoroughly to within an inch of their lives, because they're probably going to be handled quite a lot. They're going to be transported about. So I want them to stay the way I want them to look. So I thoroughly felt them. But if yours is going to be behind glass, not going to be touched much, because you can put these behind glass, you do not have to put them in this frame I give you. If you want to find a cute little frame, please go ahead. But yeah, if it's going to be behind glass and not touched much, you don't have to felt it as thoroughly as you can just felt it until you're happy with it. Ooh, it's banging downstairs. So it's up to you. I like to give them to be. So this is because these are going to be fridge magnets. So I want them to be fairly well felted. And you can see already it's nicely coming through the back. When I pulled it off the mat, it doesn't have as much movement. That's the right word. Now, so we've got our house. This is starting to felt in a little bit better. We need to. The house is kind of sitting in the landscape. We want it to be. We want it to look like it's actually in the landscape and not just plonked. So I'm going to take some of the. So I'm getting distracted by the knocking downstairs as well. I'm really excited to go down and see my new desk. So I'm taking some of the darker, the hedgerow, and I'm going to place that around the base of the bothy. Now, bothies come in all shapes and sizes, so your roof can be bigger and smaller. You can have as many windows or as few windows as you like. In this one, it's the Glencoe Museum, so there's 2 doors, 4 windows and 2 chimney stacks. So that is accurate to the building. It does look a little bit odd, but I like it. But in this one, because it's so small and far away, I'm going to do 1 door and maybe no windows. I'm definitely doing 1 door. Let's see. So again, I'm taking the slivers of, this is either Jacob or Welsh wool. It is interchangeable. And taking a tiny, tiny bit, squishing it. Can you hear the knocking noises? It's so exciting. I'm going to have a wonderful new till. And pop that just in there. So do I want... Oh, I kind of like it just with the door. We'll see. Let's try windows. That's the joy of felting. We can, if we don't like the windows, we can take them off and nobody needs to know. I think this is too small really for windows. Yeah, no, I think it's too small for windows. I like it with just a door. But I do want to do... So this is like one of those bothies that is basically one room with a chimney and a fire at one side and nothing else. It's like, so bothies... Have I explained what bothies are in Scotland? Bothies are tiny, like almost glorified sheds in the middle of nowhere. They won't have electricity, they won't have plumbing generally, they won't have anything. There won't be a lock on the door. You can just walk into a bothy and stay there overnight. You have to bring everything yourself. So you have to bring your own firewood, lighting, bedding, everything. But they're a place to shelter overnight. There's like codes of etiquette when you're staying in a bothy, and various sort of written and unwritten rules. So always do your research before you just randomly stay in one. But they are like a godsend when you're up in the hills and you want to shelter somewhere. So they're like bare minimum, bare bones, and it's free. You don't pay to go in them. Oh, it looks so cute. I know the banging noises are so exciting. Look at that. I don't want to do anything else. I will, because I want to spend a little more time, put a little bit more stuff in it. But what time are we at? We've still got half an hour. Just that. It's so cute. I want that as a magnet on my fridge. Oh, yeah. So, well, I'm going to stab all over for 5 minutes. Again. And explain what has happened with the magnet. Ah, dear. Yes. So, today I, in theory, was going to be upstairs all day in the office. Because we've got the shop downstairs, and then we've got a lovely lady, Andy, full-time downstairs, and she is absolutely amazing. Gives me time to get up here, and then my parents come on the weekend and help out on the weekend. But Andy called in well today. Well, technically she didn't. We're debating this, but there's a running joke that normally you call in sick, but when you're feeling really good, you know, might be nice to call in well one day, so you don't have to go to work because you're going to do nice stuff. So we arranged yesterday that she could have today off. So she called in well, and it meant I was downstairs on serving my wonderful customers all morning, and it was lovely, and I met some lovely people, and Peanut, the shop dog, had a great time downstairs, got fed lots of treats. But it meant I didn't get the chance to come up and design the frame. So I have a 3D printer, so I can 3D print and design stuff. So I'm working out the knots of how to do like a easy magnetic frame. So in this kit, when you get it after the fact, there might be a second part to this video, which is probably going to be what's happening, or B, will be very clear instructions as to how to put this into your frame. There'll be a magnet on the back, and all you're going to do, hopefully, this is my plan, is that it just press fits, and then you're done. That's my plan. See if my plan works. But yes, I believe Andy had a wonderful day. She is very happy. I had a wonderful day in the shop. I just didn't quite get the stuff done I was hoping to. So I'm going to put in a little bit more. Now my building's starting to... Do I want it to be like tall, or do I want it to be a little bit wider? That is the question. I want to put a few more clouds in. Now bothies, like I say, you tend to bring your own firewood, and you can't pre-book a bothy, you just turn up. So someone else may already be there. And then you make friends for the night, or you go somewhere else. It's so always bring alternative sleeping arrangements. If you don't want to be in the bothy with whoever's there, you could, hopefully you brought your camping gear and you can camp near the bothy or go somewhere else. But if it's nice, and lots of people make lots of amazing friends in bothies. So sometimes you turn up at a bothy and the fire is already going. They have a dram of whiskey waiting for you, and then sometimes they have musical instruments. So I'm imagining that when the person turned up to this bothy, the fire was already going. So I'm going to use some of these slivers and turn it into a little bit of smoke from the chimney. Because there's nothing better than when you're wet and cold on a hill, seeing a little bit of smoke coming out of a bothy chimney. So do I want to put a little bit of a top on that chimney? Yeah, I know. I want to live there too. It's so nice. I don't know. Do I leave that on the chimney or not? That is the question. So we've got to this point of the evening. How do we know when our picture is finished? So what I generally say is when this video ends, so in about 10-15 minutes, stop, put it down, put it away. Your eyes are tired, your brain is tired, you've done a lot of thinking and listening to me for an hour. Come back in a day or two and have a look at it with fresh eyes, because your eyes, they do get tired. It's also really good practice to take a photograph of it and send it to somebody, get them to give you hints and tips. I tend to do it to my parents. The act of taking a photograph of it freshens up your eyes a little bit because you're looking at it through a different lens. So a lot of the time, by the time I've sent my parents a photograph, I've already spotted what I want to change. But also it's nice to get a fresh perspective. So it freshens up your eyes if you do that. Oh, we're going to do the little sheepsies, aren't we? And if you come back in a couple of days, a day or two, tomorrow, you'll have fresh eyes and you'll see the little tiny changes that you want to make. And those little, I promise you, those little tiny changes will make so much difference. And I want you to, or it's a good idea to spend sort of 10 minutes just stabbing all over, firming it all up, because it does change it as you do this. Because all the fibres are compacting together. And you can be like, actually I want to put that in there. This frame is so handy for right, so I'm going to do, now I like to do an uneven amount, so 3 sheep, shall we say? And the sheep are literally just little white blobs. I don't know, sometimes I give them a little bit of a face, but I think in this instance just little white blobs are more than enough. For sheep. Yeah, we don't, 2 seems a bit lonely. We're going to put a 3rd in. Oh, Oh, I really want to go downstairs and see what's happening. I'm so excited. We have 3 little sheepsies. And I honestly don't want to put too much else in. I might. Right, let's do a wee thing. So now we're getting to the fiddle stage where I'm like, ooh, if I do a little do this and do that. And I'm talking, I've already said we're using tiny amounts. Now we're using such a tiny amount. So I want to sit this in the landscape a little bit better. So I am going to take a little bit of the black and just put it at the base of the house to give it a slightly darker shadow. And we need to sit the sheep in the landscape as well. So I am just using that tiny amount, but I am going to take the darker green, the hedgerow, to do the proper shadow. So we have to decide which way the sun is shining. I feel like I want the sun to shine that way. So I'm going to take a little bit of the hedgerow, and although we already placed it a little bit in the landscape, I'm just going to place it a little bit more and maybe pull that down a little bit so that the subtlest hint of a shadow. And we're going to do the same for the sheep. So we're going to take the tiniest bit of the hedgerow, not the black this time, just the green, the darker green, and give them basically underlining them and then letting it go a little bit further that way. So they've got little shadows underneath them. I always love, that's it. This is the point where you're like, it's gone from a blob to, it's a sheep with a shadow. That makes sense. There we go. We have 3 sheepy shadows. Oh, look at it. I'm pretty happy, to be honest. I want to just walk into there and live there. Actually, that's a lie. I'm not happy. The red is spilling out a little bit there. So I'm just going to cheat. You didn't see it? It didn't happen. And I want to kind of straighten up. Now I know I said that the bothy would not be straight. Just a little, straighten it up just a little bit. There you go. Now I'm going to do a nice step all over. So, tell me, what's happening? Have you liked? Have you subscribed? Have you done all the things you're supposed that I ask you really nicely to do for the Facebook? Not the Facebook, the YouTube engagement. So I have got a wee shop up in Fort William in the Highlands of Scotland where you'd find a bothy. You can buy these kits on my website. They're all linked below in the description. And I hope you guys have enjoyed felting with me tonight. So I'm going to put this down and come back in a day or two. Ruth, hello! We've done Tiny Bothy and it's so cute. I'm going to put this down now. Ruth just comes online and I just go, bye. It's not deliberate, I promise. Put this down. Oh, do I want it? I kind of like, so I could do like a few, See, this is why I've given you that little bit extra and why you should go over your edges. So you can move it around if you want like nice big sky or more sheepsies. You've got all these options. I haven't decided what my final one's going to be like. I also don't know if, is that obvious enough? I feel like that makes it look too windy. No, okay, I'm changing it. Even at this stage, you can still pull it off and it's fine. I felt like that was too windy because it was too horizontal, so I'm going to just have it coming straight up. That's better. Oh, there's red in that. I can't even see the colours anymore. So I'm going to have my nice... I kind of want it to not be perfectly straight, but kind of go straight up. There we go. That's better. Oh, sorry. Wait, have you already said hello and I didn't notice? I apologise. Well, hello again anyway. How are all the hounds? There we go. That's better. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy that we've got everything where I want it to be. I'm gonna, in a day or two, go over it for maybe 5 or 10 minutes, just stabbing all over like this. And then, oh, and every so often, I haven't said this already, give it a little bit of a smoosh. And you'd be amazed how it gets rid of all your stabby marks. Give it a little smoosh. How cute is that? I was busy stabbing. Yeah, I get distracted easily. Yeah, so give it a nice smoosh, get rid of any marks, any stabbinesses, and then stab some. Is that? It doesn't matter. I keep wanting to fill in this bit, but I'm not. You're not going to see it, so it's okay. Oh, I like that much sky. I think that's going to be the final layout there. I want to move that. Oh, brilliant! See, stabbing stuff with needles solves everything. Please tell me you're not using felting needles for the acupuncture. Okay, let's do. We've still got, what time is it? We still technically. I try and keep these to an hour. We've still got 15 minutes, but I think I'm not going to add anything else. I think we should just call it. I'm happy. It'll probably end up being an hour because I'm going to do a 15-minute video at some point in the next week or two once I've designed the frame. So watch this space because I have not. So I haven't figured out how to do the frame yet. It'll be easy. It'll be very obvious. I promise. Possibly. Maybe. And you won't have to super glue your fingers together, which is what I normally do. But okay, I'm going to call it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I feel the guilt of not finishing it in a frame is getting to me. But it's okay. There'll be a part 2. Yeah, there'll be a part 2 in a couple of days. Right. So, stop now. Come back with fresh eyes. You'll be amazed because it goes from the messy stage to the actually I made a good thing stage remarkably fast. I am proud of you. I think you've done spectacular. However your house looks, however many sheep. And thank you, Penguin. It was lovely to see all of you as well. And I will see you within. Well, I'll have a new desk. Ooh. I'll see you in theory. Not next Friday, but the Friday after. But possibly there might be a sneaky one beforehand where I'm just showing how the frame works. There will be, I promise. Thank you, my squishies. Have a good night.